There was a rumor people whispered only after midnight, not on television, not on the radio, not even on the endless networks that filled every wall and ceiling with noise. The rumor traveled differently. One person would lean closer to another and quietly ask, "Have you ever woken up at exactly 3:17? And if the other person hesitated before answering, they already understood each other, because everyone who woke at 3:17 saw something impossible. Not always the same thing, but always the sky. In the year 2089, nights no longer belonged to silence. Cities glowed without darkness. Advertisements floated between skyscrapers like artificial moons. Mechanical trains whispered across magnetic rails. Drones stitched neon patterns through the clouds. Humanity had finally conquered boredom and lost wonder in the process. People no longer looked upward. Why would they? The stars had become invisible years ago. Except at 3:17. Elias Merson knew the stories. Everyone did. The internet was full of grainy videos and frightened comments from people claiming they had seen giant planets hanging above Earth for exactly 1 minute during the night. Some described oceans floating in the sky. Others swore they heard voices. Children claimed they saw cities burning inside the clouds. Most adults laughed it away. Mass hallucination, sleep disorder, viral hysteria. The government called it collective dream leakage, a poetic phrase designed to make people stop asking questions, and most people did. But Elias couldn't, because 3 nights ago, he woke up at exactly 3:17 a.m. and saw a red planet so enormous it covered half the sky. It had rings of fire and cracks glowing like lava beneath its surface. Worst of all, it looked familiar. Not familiar like a place he'd visited, familiar like a memory he had forgotten. Elias worked in the archive department beneath New Chicago, an underground labyrinth filled with banned books, erased films, handwritten journals, and physical photographs, relics from centuries people preferred to forget. Most citizens never touched paper anymore. Paper meant permanence, and permanence frightened governments. Elias spent his nights cataloguing fragments of lost humanity. Old poems, destroyed music, letters between lovers, children's drawings recovered from burned homes after climate wars. Sometimes he thought the entire world survived only because someone somewhere had written things down. That night, while sorting a damaged box from 2024, he discovered something strange. A photograph, not digital, real. Its corners were burned black. In the image stood a woman beside a desert road beneath a blood-red sky. Above her floated enormous planets, exactly like the ones Elias had seen 3 nights earlier. On the back of the photograph were handwritten words: "When the worlds return, do not look away." No date, no signature, only a number, 3:17. Elias stopped sleeping after that, not because he feared the visions, because he wanted them back. Every night he sat beside his apartment window, waiting for 3:17. Outside, the city pulsed with electric life. Flying taxis drifted between towers. Massive screens projected smiling faces 50 stories high. Artificial rain washed dust from chrome buildings. And every citizen moved quickly, eyes lowered, ears filled with programmed sound. Nobody noticed the sky. Nobody except the sleepless. On the 5th night, it happened again. 3:17. Every light in the city flickered once. The air became heavy. silent. Then the clouds split apart. Elias stepped onto his balcony and froze. The universe had opened. Massive crimson planets burned above Earth like ancient gods returning from exile. Rings of light stretched across the heavens. Thousands of stars appeared where no stars had existed before. But this time, something else happened. The planets moved, slowly, deliberately, as if searching. Then Elias heard music, not through speakers, not through walls, inside his mind, soft, melancholic, beautiful beyond language, and beneath the music came a voice. Remember, one word, that was all. But it struck him harder than thunder, because suddenly Elias saw flashes of things he had never lived. Children running through the golden fields under alien skies, towering libraries carved into mountains, people painting galaxies across enormous ceilings, music performed beside oceans glowing blue at night, a civilization, not human, not entirely, but connected somehow to humanity itself. Then the vision vanished, the city lights returned, the sky became empty again, and Elias fell to his knees, shaking, because deep inside he knew the impossible truth. The visions were not dreams, they were memories. The next morning, he called in sick for the first time in 11 years. Then, he began searching the forbidden archives. Hidden beneath classified military records and obsolete astronomy files, Elias discovered references dating back centuries. Every generation had reports of the same event. People waking at 3:17, people seeing worlds in the sky, people hearing music, and afterward, disappearances, thousands of them, most cases erased, others explained away as suicide, mental illness, or accidents. But one file disturbed Elias more than anything else. Project Orpheus. Status: terminated. Access restricted. He broke the encryption anyway. Inside was a transcript from 70 years earlier, an interview with a scientist named Dr. Mira Vale. The recording began normally, then her answers became increasingly frantic. "We believed consciousness belonged only to the brain," she said. "We were wrong." The interviewer asked her to explain. Long silence, then, "Human minds are receivers." "What are they receiving?" Another pause, another civilization. The recording distorted violently after that, but one sentence remained audible. "They are trying to come home." Elias stopped breathing for a moment. Outside the archive chamber, machines hummed quietly. Far above him, millions of people moved through their ordinary lives unaware their reality might be built upon forgotten lies. He continued reading. Decades earlier, astronomers had detected strange signals coming from deep space. Not radio waves, patterns, mathematical emotions, memories encoded in frequencies. At first, scientists believed the signals came from intelligent extraterrestrial life. Later, they discovered something terrifying. The signals reacted to human thoughts, especially during dreaming, especially at 3:17 a.m. Why 3:17? No one knew. Some theorized Earth aligned briefly with another dimension during that exact minute. Others believed humanity itself once originated somewhere beyond the stars. But the final pages were missing, removed intentionally. Elias leaned back in his chair, and for the first time in years, he looked afraid, because he remembered the voice. Remember, not listen, not watch. Remember. That evening, the city issued an emergency broadcast. All citizens are advised to remain indoors between 3 and 4 a.m. due to atmospheric disturbances. No explanation, no details, which meant panic had already begun behind closed government doors. The internet exploded instantly. Videos appeared everywhere. People across the world had seen the planets now. Tokyo, Toronto, Berlin, Lemma. Millions awake at once, millions staring upward. And in every video, the same thing could be heard faintly in the background: music. The next night, the streets emptied before midnight. Helicopters circled above the city. Military drones floated between skyscrapers. Elias sat alone in darkness, waiting beside his window. 3:16. His heartbeat thundered. Then, the power died. Complete silence swallowed the world. 3:17. The sky erupted. This time, the planets were closer. So close, Elias could see storms moving across their surfaces. But beyond them, something enormous emerged from the darkness. A structure. No. A doorway. A glowing fracture stretching across space itself. And from that fracture came thousands of lights descending silently toward Earth. Not ships, people, or something resembling people. Tall figures woven from gold and shadow. The city below erupted in screams. Some fled, some prayed. Some simply stared upward, unable to move. Then every screen in the world activated simultaneously. One message appeared everywhere. "We remember you." Elias felt tears rise unexpectedly, because the message did not feel threatening. It felt sorrowful, like family returning to ruins after centuries away. Then the voice returned again inside his mind. "You were never abandoned." Suddenly memories flooded him, not visions, memories. Humanity had once traveled among the stars long before recorded history, not as conquerors, as artists, explorers, dreamers. But something catastrophic had happened. A war, not with weapons, with forgetting. Entire civilizations erased themselves by surrendering imagination for comfort. Emotion for convenience, wonder for distraction. Earth had become the last surviving fragment, and humanity had chosen sleep over memory. Until now, the glowing figures descended across oceans, deserts, forests, and cities. Yet they harmed no one. Instead, wherever they walked, impossible things happened. Dead gardens bloomed overnight, polluted rivers cleared. People long unable to speak suddenly sang. Children began describing stars no telescope had ever recorded. And millions across Earth started dreaming the same dream. A distant red world beneath golden skies. A home none of them had seen, yet somehow missed. Governments collapsed within weeks, not through violence, through irrelevance. Once humanity remembered wonder, fear lost much of its power. People abandoned endless entertainment streams. Massive digital billboards went dark. For the first time in generations, cities grew quiet enough to hear wind again. Elias traveled north months later toward the empty deserts beyond the old Canadian territories. The sky there still burned crimson at night. And every evening at 3:17, the worlds appeared again. Closer each time, waiting. He carried with him the burned photograph he had found in the archive. Now, he finally understood it. The woman in the image had not been warning humanity. She had been preparing it. When the worlds return, do not look away. Because looking away had nearly destroyed them once already. One night, Elias stood alone beneath the stars while cold wind moved across the sand. Then, he heard footsteps behind him. A young girl approached quietly, maybe 10 years old. She pointed upward toward the giant red planet. "Do you think that's where we came from?" she asked. Elias looked at the sky, at the glowing world suspended like memories reborn. Then he smiled softly. "No," he said. "I think it's where we forgot ourselves." The girl considered this carefully. Then she sat beside him in silence. Together they watched the universe breathe above them. And for the first time in centuries, humanity stayed awake.
Thank you for listening to my story to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Watch it to the end and see the finished painting, which I also painted.